The Nobel Prize winners were just announced, and unfortunately, as much as he wants one, the Cheeto King, our good friend Trump, hasn't won one. On this week's episode of Headlines, we'll be looking at some COVID-19 updates, Nobel winners, the US presidential debate, the French Open, new members of the UN Human Rights Council, and lastly, a young Italian saint. Welcome to Headlines. First, some COVID-19 updates. Two of the many companies working on a COVID vaccine, Johnson & Johnson and Eli Lilly, have had to pause their clinical trials due to safety concerns as volunteers developed unknown illnesses. Experts say that this is perfectly normal. In fact, AstraZeneca had the same thing happen last month and was shut down for a week before being able to resume trials. Japanese tourist Jesse Katayama was given the amazing honor of having Peru's Machu Picchu open just for him. The boxing instructor bought a ticket just 3 days before the famous Incan citadel went into lockdown in March. He's been stuck there ever since. Since then, he's just been perusing through the country. The Chinese city of Qingdao is testing all of its 9.5 million residents after it recorded the country's first locally transmitted cases in almost 2 months. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. And in terms of global COVID-19 numbers, the US, India, Brazil, Russia, and Colombia are the countries with the highest number of cases. The Nobel Prize winners were announced last week. Doctors Harvey Alter, Michael Hofmann, and Charles Rice received the Nobel Prize in Medicine for the discovery of the hepatitis C virus, which saved millions of lives by allowing vaccines to be developed. In physics, Roger Penrose, Reinhard Genzel, and Andrea Ghez received the Nobel Prize for their work on black holes. Unfortunately, they have not found my many missing homework assignments. The prize in chemistry went to Emmanuel Charpentier and Jennifer Doudna for their work with developing the CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing system. The literature prize went to Louise Gluck, one of America's most famous poets. No doubt her poems will be popping up in a couple of IB literature papers quite soon. And the Peace Prize was given to the World Food Programme for their efforts in combating global hunger. Finally, Stanford University professors Paul Milgrom and Robert Wilson took the Nobel Prize for Economics for designing novel ways of auctioning goods, including radio frequencies. The US president has decided not to hold a virtual debate with his presidential opponent, Joe Biden. So, the town hall-style debate that was due to happen this Thursday had to be scrapped. Now, the focus will be on the next debate on October 22nd. Biden's campaign manager, Andrew Bates, said that it's shameful Donald Trump ducked out of the only debate in which the voters get to ask the questions. But it's no surprise. Oof, Donald Trump will need some ice to treat that burn. In sports news, Rafael Nadal beat Novak Djokovic in the French Open on Sunday. This is Rafa's 20th Grand Slam victory, putting him on the same level as the legendary tennis player Roger Federer, who also has 20 Grand Slams under his belt. Federer reacted to Nadal's win on Twitter, congratulating his greatest rival and claiming that the two have pushed each other to improve. And that's how sports should be done, ladies and gentlemen. Not Uncle Bob bickering about Grandpa Joe after losing a game of lawn bowls, but good old sportsmanship. 19-year-old Iga Swiatek from Poland won the women's singles against USA's Sofia Kenin for her first ever Grand Slam win. Cuba, China, and Russia became the newest members of the UN Human Rights Council. And I know what you're thinking. It's like the UN just doesn't care anymore. 2020 has already hit them so bad, they'll take whatever they get. But here's how it happened. The Council is made up of 47 United Nations member states, which are elected by the UN General Assembly. Candidates are elected by secret ballot in geographical groups to ensure even representation. The Asia-Pacific group, which included Saudi Arabia, was the only competitive race on Tuesday, with 5 candidates vying for 4 seats. Saudi Arabia failed to win a seat, losing out to China, Nepal, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan. Last week, human rights groups called on UN members to oppose the election of China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Cuba, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan, saying that the human rights records make them unqualified. But there were no other contenders. Human Rights Watch's UN Director, Louis Charbonneau, criticized UN member states, including Western nations, saying they don't want competition. Essentially, these are backroom deals that are being worked out amongst regional groups. So, this brings us to our last story, and we must warn viewers that this is not suitable for parents. You can hit pause until they leave the room. Welcome back. So, a 15-year-old Italian is about to be made a saint in the Catholic Church. We thought you could do without the added pressure from your parents. Carlo Curtis died in 2006 from leukemia. Last Saturday, in the Italian town of Assisi, the church held a ceremony that would bring Carlo one step closer to being a saint. Carlo was very religious, even though his parents were not, and he would beg them to take him to church. He was something of a computer whiz, teaching himself to code from university-level books while he was still in primary school. He was also very kind to the poor, buying them sleeping bags or bringing them hot drinks. His mother says that while he was alive, he healed a woman from cancer. Yeah, that's pretty tough to get into your portfolio. To become a saint, the person needs to have performed 2 miracles recognized by the church after they're dead. The church has accepted that a 7-year-old Brazilian boy was cured of a pancreatic disorder after touching a piece of Carlo's jersey. So now Carlo just needs one more. Meanwhile, his body is now in Assisi for people to pay their respects. On that note, those are your headlines for this week. I'll see you next time on Headlines.